G'day! You often hear people say that math is a language, which sounds so poetic and beautiful and profound and deep. The only trouble is I don't actually know what it means. I mean, I'm not that clever a person. Actually, I take it back. I do know what this means in a very literal sense. I'm currently speaking to you in English. You're listening to me in English. We're about to do maths together in English. So for us, math is a language. Yes, that language is English. And if I was speaking to you in French, that language would be French. Or if we were doing this course in Korean or Swahili, that language would be Korean or Swahili. Math is the language you're currently working in right now, and for us together, it's going to be English. Now, actually, mathematicians agree with me because when you write down a math equation, you're actually writing down a sentence. For us, an English sentence. For example, when I write down 5 equals 2 plus 3, I literally said subject, verb, object. That's an actual sentence. The subject here is the quantity 5. The verb here is equals, 5 equals, and the object here is the quantity 2 plus 3. 5 equals 2 plus 3, subject, verb, object. That's a sentence, and as such, it deserves correct punctuation. Period. A sentence should end in a period. Here's another sentence. 7 is greater than 9 plus 3. Period. Subject, 7. Verb is greater than, object, the quantity 9 plus 3. There it is, another sentence. Now you're probably looking at me a little bit funny about this one because this one turns out to be a false sentence. This one turns out to be a true sentence. But here's the thing, sentences can be true, sentences can be false. They can go either way. Grand. But you're right, math tends to focus on truth. It likes to focus on the true sentences. So it'll probably focus on this sentence and probably ignore this one, which is not true. Math likes truth. In fact, the study of math is about probably studying truth in number sentences. But actually there's some trouble there because you can't always tell if a subject is true or false. And this happens in everyday English language as well. For example, suppose I wrote down, in fact I'm going to write down this sentence. Harold is over 6 feet tall. There is a sentence. And as such, right now, it's neither true nor false. Because you don't know which Harold I'm talking about in the world. I've actually got two friends, Harold. If I'm referring to my friend in North Carolina, he is actually over 6 feet tall, in which case this would be a true sentence. Or if I'm referring to my friend in California, who's actually fairly short, this is a false sentence. So you can't tell whether a sentence is true or false until I give you context about which Harold of the world I'm actually talking about. So a standalone sentence is currently neither true nor false until more information comes your way. And this happens in maths class all the time. For example, here's a sentence in an algebra class, for example. Here's a sentence from algebra class. 2x minus 1 equals 5. It really is a sentence, has a subject, 2 times some unknown quantity, take away 1, has a verb, equals, has an object, the quantity 5. Sentence, hence, period. Subject, verb, object, period. Great. And like the Harold example, we don't have enough context right now to tell whether the sentence is true or false. I mean, it could be true. For example, if x happened to be a value 3 in my brain, I'd be thinking 2 times 3 minus 1, which is 5. That'll be a true sentence about numbers. Or if someone's thinking 10 in their brain for x, this will be a false sentence. 2 times 10 minus 1 is 19, which doesn't equal 5. They'll have a false sentence. But without further context, we have no idea whether the sentence is true or false. But, to solve an equation, since we're so driven by truth, it seems fairly obvious we want to say the only value of x that gives me truth here is x being 3. To solve an equation means to identify the values of the unknown that give me a true sentence about numbers. In this case, you can probably see in your mind's eye that x is only can be 3 for this to be a true sentence, in which case we say the solution to this equation, the solution to this is x having the value 3. Whoa, a lot of words. But that's it. That's it. We've just solved this equation. We've just identified which values of x make it a true number sentence. That's what it means to solve an equation. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't I just write x equals 3? And this is a little bit subtle because actually, technically, that's its own sentence, which could be true or false. A quantity equals 3 would be true if x actually has the value 3, but it would be false if x has the value 19. 19 doesn't equal 3. So this right now is actually a sentence that's neither true nor false as well, except Its solutions. It's the only value of x that makes this true is so obvious. X better be 3 to make this true. 3 does equal 3. So this one obviously has the answer, x being the value 3. So people often say, don't bother writing all those words. We'll take a shortcut. We'll say this equation is equivalent to this equation whose solutions are so obvious. Only x being the value 3 makes that true. We'll just stop there because it's clear we need x to be 3 for this to be true. So again, to solve an equation means to identify all the values that actually make a true sentence about numbers. And once you've done that, people often don't bother writing all the full sentences like I did here. They might just write x equals 3 because that has very obvious x values that make a true sentence. So they'll just stop there and saying, you could write the extra line if you want, but no one ever seems to do that. All right. To solve an equation often requires just using your experience and your common sense when things get complicated, for example. Here's another equation. X squared equals 25, period. Again, it's a sentence. Subject, verb, object, and technically right now it's neither true nor false. Depends what you're thinking for x. However, my experience with squaring numbers tells me that 5 squared equals 25, and also tells me that negative 5 squared equals 25, and also tells me that no other number squared will give me 25. So I can see that the only numbers that give me truth here would be x being 5 or negative 5. Now I've just solved the equation. To solve the equation, identify all the values of the unknown that give me a true sentence about numbers. So x must be 5 or negative 5. And again, people get a little bit lazy, don't write out the full solution set like this in words. They might just write something simpler like this, x better be 5 or negative 5. Even though technically that's still its own sentence is neither true nor false right now. Though people can see the only way this sentence here is going to be true is if x is either 5 or actually negative 5, just like I wrote in words there. All right, so to summarize, mathematics is a language. That language is English. We like to write sentences. We really do. We put punctuation marks. In fact, I'll show you at the end of this video one of my papers that actually shows when you write a math paper, you actually do use a lot of words and you put in punctuation with all the mathematics. So math is a language. For us, it's going to be English. Great. To solve an equation means to identify all the values of the unknowns that give you a true sentence about numbers. Mathematics likes to focus on truth. It likes to focus on true sentences about numbers. So to solve an equation means to identify all the values that make a particular equation, a particular number sentence, a true number sentence. And people often write the answers like this, even though they should actually write out a full sentence like this in lots of words. We don't. We identify a much simpler equation, x equals 3, whose truth is obviously only going to happen when x equals 3. Or they might write something like this, x equals 5 or negative 5, whose truth is only going to happen when x is 5 or actually is negative 5. So rather than write out long sentences, people often get a little bit lazy and just say this equation is really the same as that equation, whose truth is actually obvious when you just read that x better be 5 or x better be negative 5. That's what it means to solve an equation. It's all really about playing with the English language, or French language, or Swahili language, or Urdu, whatever it's going to be. Good stuff. Gotta love it.